Happy Friday, everybody. Long weekend. Exciting stuff. Hopefully everybody's got something fun on the go that they're planning for the weekend. I know we're getting ready to head off to my grandmother's cottage shortly. We're gonna go spend the weekend on the beach with a whole bunch of my extended family. So, woohoo, can't wait. But I gotta just tell you guys all about this week's stuff before we head out. So, this week, week 4 already, if you can believe it, we are focusing on the air element. The air element is probably, I mean, if you take nothing else from this program, this is the one that you want to balance the most, because this guy is really integral in our whole experience as a person. The air element is a masculine element. It really has a lot to do with our decision making and our intelligence, the way our mind works. So really, it's a manifestation of our higher mind, our intelligent mind. So it corresponds with our neurological programming that we have. It corresponds with our meanings, our beliefs, our habits, our behaviors, our impulses, are really deeply ingrained aspects of ourselves that become patterns that, a lot of times become very subconscious, right? We don't even realize we have them. And the way that a lot of those become so subconscious is, let me back up for a sec. So where do we begin? Where does that kind of starting point happen? And we've talked a lot about this, not only in Elevated Academy, but also in the group coaching program in the last couple of weeks. But really, a lot of our beliefs and our habits, the way we've kind of formed our experiences, come from our childhood. So that is your, zero or, conception, really, to 12, 13 years old, where we really we develop all of the meanings for our experience. So our parents are, whoever you're raised by, grandparents, caregivers, I mean, people have all kinds of different stories, right? Those people, teachers, even babysitters, like major influences where you've spent a lot of your time learning, those people, again, subconsciously project their experiences on children, and that creates a meaning. So an example, maybe, a teacher, let's say a little boy comes running in to show his mom something he built, and he's so excited, spent all day building it, and comes into the kitchen or the living room, wherever in the house, and says, mom, come show me, I want to come show you something. And maybe this parent, this mom, dad, whoever is really busy, they're in the middle of something on the phone, whatever. Not right now, I'm really busy, I can't do that, just wait, just leave me alone. And you have that kind of reaction. And in that moment, that child, let's just say that small boy is 7, creates the meaning of, my work, my inventions, my creations are not worth seeing. My mom doesn't like me, doesn't like what I build. And, maybe those things are fleeting. And of course, as we become adults, we learn that logically that's not the case, because we know they were just busy. However, that 7-year-old mind doesn't know that in that exact experience. So that meaning of my creation, my experience is not valid, it doesn't matter, it's not worth paying attention to, becomes, or, my mom doesn't love me, right? Like, it goes right down that whole train. Or, that how many times have you heard children are meant to be seen, not heard, right? If that was your experience as a child. Or, maybe even on the flip side, you were given way too much, way too liberal, way too much freedom in your life. So now you don't have any discipline, right? So our experiences as children really shape and develop our deep ingrained beliefs in our mind. So balancing our air element, in particular to abundance, is so important, because And when you go through the questions, you're going to really be digging into that experience. So like, what did your parents believe about money? What were their attitudes around it? What do you believe that there's more than enough out there in the world for everybody? Or do you have a hard time sharing? And not necessarily because you think sharing's wrong, but because, you know, a fear of lack, a fear of there won't be enough for you if you give to others. You know, a lot of times people will, you know, you think about, I know I've been guilty of it. You know, maybe you're walking down the street and you see someone begging for change, asking for change, food, whatever. And then you walk by and you think, yeah, me and you both, buddy. Like, I got this $10,000 debt for school. I've got this credit card, and you know what I mean? Like, we both need it. You know, you get into that mentality of like, there's only so much to go around. So really looking at those really deep, you know, subconscious beliefs around how we experience abundance. So even something like, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. It's blank. Anyway, you know, and so much of those subconscious beliefs we go on autopilot, and we become these people that sort of, you're not even aware that you're doing it, right? So looking at the air element, it is really about understanding those autopilot reactions and impulses and patterns and habits that we have around abundance. And that spans through the whole part of it. So it's like, even in our relationships, right? So like, do you genuinely really want people to be happy? Or is there a part of you that is being served, is being fed by projecting this person at work always being unhappy, this person at work, like, you know, judgments, and constantly allowing those things to be going through your head? Do you get angry easy? Do you get frustrated easy? Do you judge people constantly without even knowing it? You know, all of these things that become these sort of dense energies and blocks that can really not allow you to understand how abundance or how it works in your life, or how much you actually have in your life. It can really kind of stifle how we see things. So there, you know, it's really becomes this like unconscious inspiration behind our thoughts, right? Like this, that's constantly kind of moving us forward in this continual kind of trap, almost in a way, right? Like, you can't really break free of this mindset that you have. So it's really, the air element is directly responsible for our mindset. So we're really going to be focusing on that in our group coaching session this week. So go through the questions and see what comes up for you, and really start to think about your mindset around abundance. How do you think about abundance? How, you know, when you think about the idea of wisdom around abundance, where is your wisdom with abundance? Where are you sitting with that? So, you know, that's why coaching can help, because we are able to really reflect things. So if you take the time to actually jot down through doing the questions and really thinking about some key things that you find you're always sort of going back to, right? Like, and it can be something as simple, and it's one of the questions in there too. When you think of a new idea or something that you're inspired by, and you start planning it out in your head and getting excited about it, and you're like, oh, wouldn't it be so great to do this? But, you know, I'm not very smart. I don't know anything about that. Or, but like, I'll never get the money for that. Like, how would I ever afford it? Like, that's what I'm talking about. So when you have these thoughts about abundance, or have these ideas about how to make more money, bring more into your life, giving more, receiving more, where do you say the word but? How quickly does that happen? Where does it show up all the time? And what are your deeply ingrained core beliefs around abundance? That's where we're going this week. Air in our elevated blueprint is all about inner elevation. So that means that, you know, the oxygen, the stuff that's making things work, it's that subconscious influence constantly, which is our thoughts, right? Everything starts with a thought. Starts with a feeling, thought, feeling, behavior, cycle. Thought, feeling, behavior, habit. Just a big cycle. So let's go right to the thought, those deeply ingrained beliefs, and do the tweaking there, because that changes this whole cycle. So lots of work to kind of prep today, guys. I wanted to get this out to you guys. I really do apologize again for last week, but this should give you guys enough time to kind of go over some things in your head and really start to think about what are your patterns? What are your blocks? What are the things, what is your pain around abundance? Where is it coming from? And then go back all the way down. So maybe you've isolated a few, like let's say the top 3 kind of thing. Then we go back in those top 3 and we follow the thread to where it started. Where did that belief start? Where's the button? Where's the trigger? That's where we want to go. So if you can think about those top 3 things, or things that you know you're hitting the block all the time, and it's becoming less and less subconscious now because we've been doing this work for the last couple of weeks, things are coming to the surface. You should be kind of at this point seeing some of the patterns that are happening. So take those patterns, come to the group coaching on Monday, and let's get to that button. Where does it come from? What is that core belief? Because once we figure that out, that's when we can start working with forgiveness. That's when we can start letting it go. Because, and I know it sounds kind of crazy, but that actually can be quite instant. Because once you find that button, that trigger, that that place where it started all, we can neutralize it. So we find that trigger, that belief. Okay, so maybe it's like, my dad never, there was never enough. My father always talked about there's never enough. There was never enough, never enough. We can't do that. Or or maybe overshared about bills and things like that, instilling this kind of sense of fear, right? So we go back to that and we can neutralize it. We see it now for what it is. And we can talk about that and address it. Is that really your belief? Like, is that what you believe? Or, where did that come from for them? We can really kind of cut it. And then moving forward, it becomes easier and easier and almost instantaneously not there anymore. So lots of things to think about. Again, watch the video. Watch it if you think, I know I talked kind of fast sometimes, so if you need to watch it a couple times, go through it. But really think about those key words that you maybe use all the time. But, or should, or, my money should go this way, or should go that way, or only have this, so it can only go there. Look at those words. Look at the patterns, the beliefs, that come from your childhood. What are they? What is your psychology around abundance? That's what we're really talking about right now. So think about the mind. Think about the way you think about it. So I'm excited to hear what we all come up with. I know it's an interesting one because it really kind of leads into what we think about success. It really leads into what we think about happiness. Like, do we have enough to be happy? Do we have enough to be successful? Do we have enough to be healthy? These kinds of things, right? And that's really what in the pursuit of an elevated life, health, success, and happiness, freedom is what we're after, right? That's that feeling. So what are the thoughts that are not allowing you to be free about abundance? Not allowing you to be in that abundant mindset. All right, guys. It's a good challenge. I hope you're all up for it. And I really look forward to talking to you guys in a couple of days. We'll talk soon.